Dear friends, welcome and welcome back. Today's journey to an art journal page has its twists and turns. Because I wanted a free and intuitive page, the process took over and went its own way. But I start with a drawing of mine, this time a girl with nature in her hair. And in the end, I will combine it with Dina Wakley's stamp set called Nested Birds and her paint. But right now I am working on this woman's skin with a watercolor palette from Prima called Complexion. It took me a good while to finish her skin tone, so I have edited down the process. But you can see me going dark to light and light to dark, layering my colors. When I'm happy with her skin, I go on and use the same palette to fill in her brows and lips. When I feel I have a good start on the face, I move on to color the vines with leaves and the twigs sticking out with my Gansai Tambi watercolor set. I use two brown shades, using the darker to mark the curves and the lighter to blend out the dark. And I do the same to the twigs. I mark where the twigs split with the darker brown and blend out harsh lines with the lighter brown. For the leaves I choose a light lime green and a darker forest green. I put the dark green on every leaf and then I come in with lime green and blend them together. And I color everything on her head with my Gansai Tambi watercolors. Next, I bring out that Dina Wakley stamp set called Nested Birds. I love this set and found it on second-hand groups on Facebook. I place all the birds and the nest in my stamping platform and use archival black soot to stamp them. To color the birds, I bring out two of Dina Wakley's sets of scribblesticks. They are almost like acrylic paint in a stick. I will also use my Gansai Tambi watercolors to color in the nest. I do the same as before and use a dark and a light brown to color in that nest. I chose scribble sticks in blackberry, fuchsia and rose. I use a wet brush to pick up color from the stick and use that wet brush to blend the colors together, creating shadows and highlights on those gorgeous birds. Back with that face, I use the darker green from the leaves to add dark green in a few places around her pupil. Then I use the lighter green to blend out the dark, so her eyes shift in green. So it's time for the background, and this is where I kind of lost myself in adding layers, bringing out things from the background and pushing them back again. And in the end, a big part will be covered up. But here we go, adding a layer of gesso before a darker green at the bottom and lime green higher up. These acrylic paints are from Dina Wakley, and the paint matched her scribblesticks. So after the green I bring out blackberry, fuchsia and rose and add them with the darkest blackberry closest to the green, then fuchsia and rose at the top. Next I bring out that pack of collage paper from Dina Wakley with texts, and I start adding strips of text paper randomly all over my background. This looks nice, but I must warn you that I will mess this all up, and thankfully it will be covered by our images in the end, so bear with me. I have this Alta New stencil with florals, so I bring it out along with black paint. I brush that black paint on and place a stencil over and wipe away color over the stencil with a baby wipe or two, only leaving the negative left of that stencil. And yes, this is where I destroy it all, but bear with me and see how I will be tying this together in the end. Or you won't think I tied it together, and that is okay too. As a sort of forgive me to my background, I bring out Dina Wakley's white gesso and try to break up that black pattern by adding the white with my fingers and even using water to thin out the white, avoiding harsh lines. Here comes the next layer with a text stencil from Darkroom Door with creative words, and I used the lime green paint to stencil in random words. So, the next layer is using this quite new stencil from Dina Wakley called Things That Grow. I put down the trio of blackberry, fuchsia and rose on my mat, along with some black paint, and I started stenciling in Things That Grow in the blackberry paint at random. When I have a few flowers in blackberry paint, I put some black paint on my sponge and go around the edges of the stenciled flowers to make them pop from the background more. Next I stencil with fuchsia, the medium pink, and I use blackberry to add some shadow to the fuchsia flowers. Finally, I stencil with rose gold paint, adding shadows with fuchsia paint. To add insult to injury, and yes, it is that bad, I go around the lightest flowers with a black marker, outlining them very sketchy, and then I use a white gel pen to outline the darker flowers. Can there be more? Yes, it can, because I decided to outline some of the stenciled words with black. Finally, I stopped beating that dead horse and glued down my face, covering up most of the background. Now I had video of me drawing, coloring and cutting out extra leaf vines and twigs, but I ran out of room on my phone, so it turned off and I didn't notice and glued everything down. The only thing left is how I glued down the nest and one of the leaf vines. I am sorry I missed filming when all that texture and dimension was being created. Here I hope you can see the leaf vines I added along with twigs and the birds sitting in the nest, in her hair and on the extra twig sticking up. So I want some words on my page and I turned to that collage paper pack from Dina Wakley with texts and I cut out "Stay Weird" and 3 smaller strips with the words "I am mine, I am becoming, and I am trying" on black. I use soft gel medium to glue those collage words onto white cardstock, seal them with a layer of gel medium on top, and cut them out. Here you see me toying with the idea of one more twig, but I came to my senses. I bring out my white gel pen to add highlights to the birds, to every leaf and the twigs. I enjoy these small details. This page has truly been a journey. The face I wasn't sure about, along with scribbly birds I wasn't sure would work with the face in a totally different style. The patterns I highlighted and then pushed back into the background. All the extra dimensional twigs and vines, and the words that fit my mood perfectly. I glue down the words "Stay Weird" in the center over her mouth, and I glue those black strips with their sayings on. And then this intuitive mixed media Dina Wakley art journal page is finished. Thank you so much for watching. You being here makes me so happy, and I hope you will come back soon for more, because I have never-ending ideas, good news and fun things coming up. Until the next time, happy crafting!